Hi there! It's Jenny from Quick Anime Recap, and today we're recapping the part 2 of the anime. Are you the one who loves me? So sit tight and enjoy the video. The anime continues with, Joro is glad that everything is finally returned to normal, and he happily walked to school with Himawari like usual. However, this shortly comes to an end when Asunaro invites him to sit at the bench on the rooftop, causing all of his trauma to float up. As Asunaro reenacts the same lines just like she was about to confess her love, it turns out, she is accusing him of being a scumbag who is three-timing Pansy, Himawari and Cosmos. She threatens to expose his misdeeds by publishing an article. But after Joro protests that he isn't three-timing, Asunaro agrees to shadow him and wait till the Flower Dance Festival before deciding if she should publish the article. And to get Asunaro off his back, Joro asks the three girls to avoid him for a while, but they refuse. The reason behind this is because Joro is picked as the flower boy for the Flower Dance Festival, a traditional festival where one boy will dance with three girls. Himawari and Cosmos are two of the girls, but no one wants to be the third girl due to some strange rumors flying around Joro. In the end, Sun becomes the third girl for the dance. That evening, Asunaro's article on scumbag Joro gets accidentally published, and Joro is confronted by the class's queen bee, Sasankwa, who wants to teach him a lesson. Fortunately, it quickly gets broken up when Asunaro states that this article was a mistake done by her. Even though Asunaro apologizes for it, due to the article, Pansy, Himawari and Cosmos realize it's bad for them to hang out together, and they agrees that they should keep apart from Joro in the meanwhile, causing Joro unable to practice for the upcoming Flower Dance Festival. Feeling guilty for her mistake, Asunaro offers to practice with Joro instead for the flower dance. After a week, Joro is confronted by Sasankwa and her friends, who threaten him if Asunaro's article turns out to be true. But they stops and leaves when Asunaro arrives, which Joro thanks her for getting rid of them, and she smiles sweetly. He then gets a call from Sun, who overheard some representatives confronting the principal about two males participating in the flower dance. Sun predicts that he won't be allowed to take part, and that they should look for a substitute. And so, Joro asks Asunaro to be the substitute, which she accepts the offer, and Joro takes out his phone to tell Cosmos, but she is already there. And the three sit down at the student council room. Unexpectedly, Cosmos reveals that she knows Asunaro has been lying to Joro and everyone else, accusing Asunaro of lying about her article and driving Joro into a corner, just so she could become the one closest to him. Being caught red-handed, Asunaro starts to cry, saying that he had always wanted to be with Joro ever since the baseball regional finals. Joro had inadvertently protected Asunaro from a stray ball. In a desperate outburst, Asunaro says Joro doesn't need anyone but her and that everyone should get lost. She then turns to Joro and confesses to him. However, Joro dons his Hyde persona and harshly rejects her. In the end, Asunaro apologizes to Cosmos for her actions and leaves, taking her rejection rather well. Cosmos reveals to Joro that she saw through his harsh words, that he was kind enough to use his rejection to give her a push. Joro then asks what they will do about the dance, to which Cosmos reveals that Sun had planned to convince Pansy to be the third girl in the dance. Later, Joro is doing the flower dance. The first girl to dance with him is Himawari. As they dance, she asks him if there is anyone he has a crush on. He says no, and she says she is the same. The lights dim and Cosmos takes the stage. As Joro dances with Cosmos, Asunaro is in the newspaper club room writing a good article. As the lights fade, Cosmos kisses Joro on the cheek before running off stage. Lastly, is Pansy turn to dance. She thanks him for helping her make friends with Himawari, Cosmos and Sun, flustering Joro in the process. The dance then ends to a round of applause. And Joro and Pansy exit the stage to meet with Himawari, Cosmos and Sun, congratulating each other for a beautiful performance. It is then, Pansy finally musters her courage and officially becomes friends with the three of them, which they are happy to hear. The next morning, Joro's mother, Larie, is making breakfast. And when Joro comes down the stairs, she greets him cheerfully and mentions that he won't need lunch since he's going out with friends today. He asks how she knows this before seeing Pansy sitting on the couch in the living room. The three of them then sit down and have breakfast together. Joro asks Pansy why she is in his house. which Pansy says that she ran into Larie while stalking him and she let her in. She then shows Joro a ticket to go to the pool, Aqualand, and they decide to leave after breakfast. At the pool, Joro is excited, which Sun comes up to him, also sharing his excitement. In that moment, Himawari runs up to them, followed by Cosmos and Pansy, all wearing their fancy bikini. They all go play for a while. Joro loses at rock paper scissors and has to buy everyone drinks. As he waits in line, the girl in front of him recognizes his voice and turns around. The girl turns out to be Sasankwa, and she asks Joro why he is here, but Joro doesn't recognize her. Sasankwa continues to talk to Joro, which makes him nervous, and he checks around for a bench. Sasankwa tells him that her friend made a mistake and was mean to someone, and that she wants to apologize as well as something to make up for it. Joro says that a sincere apology would be enough. She also asks about his preferences for a girl's appearance, to which Joro says he likes clean and neat black hair girl. Joro then returns to the others and they drink. And there, the girls all ask Joro to do things at the same time, which they decide to have a competition where Joro would do all three of their suggested activities, with the one Joro has the most fun with being the winner, and the winner may make one request of Joro. And first up is Himawari, who wants to go on the waterslide. Unfortunately, Joro's trunks come off at the waterslide and Sun jumps in to protect him. Up next is Cosmos, who wants to ride an inflatable dolphin ride with him, but she gets caught up in a fantasy after being heckled by some kids, leaving Joro on the dolphin alone, which Sun jumps in again, saving him from embarrassment. Lastly is Pansy, who wants to go to the spa with him. It all went well at first, when Pansy and Joro both thanks each other for the fun time they had the past few weeks, before she starts teasing him and Sun had to once again save him and gets Pansy to stop. That evening, the girls ask Joro who he had the most fun with. The girls are certain Joro will choose them, but is shocked when he chooses Sun, and they run off together. The next day at school, Joro picks up a copy of the school newspaper, which has Asanaro's article clearing his name. Just then, Sasankwa's gal group surrounds his table and apologizes for the way they treated him the past week. And Sasankwa herself walks to her table with a new appearance, exactly Joro's type. When Sasankwa apologizes to Joro for the past week, she is interrupted by a transfer student, Tsubaki, who kisses Joro's hand and states she will do anything to make him happy. A flashback from the baseball match is shown. Joro is buying skewer cutlets from the stall Tsubaki is working at, to cheer up Sun for losing the game back then. And Tsubaki is touched by Joro's pureness of heart, and she asks for his name before he leave. Back in the present day, Tsubaki is transferring into Joro's class, and she introduces herself to everyone. After class, Tsubaki tells Joro she wants to serve him any way she can, which he is suspicious at her intentions, but is eventually charmed by her looks. At lunch, she is properly introduced to the group and they are eating together in the library. Cosmos made a big bento for Joro, but Tsubaki gives him a bento first before she could. After lunch, Pansy lends Joro her favorite book, so they will have something else to talk. And after school, Joro buys something from the shop. And suddenly, Himawari tackles him and tells him her birthday is coming up, which she is excited to have him over to her birthday party. At home, Joro realizes he has lost Pansy's book, having dropped it when Himawari tackled him, and so, he rushes back to the shopping center to look for it. And there, two girls named Cherry and Tsukimi offer to help him find it, and they eventually did find it, but it is all beaten up. Joro wonders how it gotten so bad. Cherry then tells him it will be very expensive to buy a new one, but she knows someone who owns the same book, and gives him the address of the bookstore that sells the book. The next day, at lunchtime, Joro is buried in a magazine looking for a part-time job to earn money to buy the book, and Cosmos is sad that he doesn't pay attention to her 5-layer bento, which Himawari angrily takes the magazine from Joro. Tsubaki offers Joro a job at her newly opened store, and Joro accepts the offer immediately, as the wage is higher than the best option he found in the magazine. He heavily compliments Tsubaki, which makes Cosmos sad again. Later, Joro finally tells Pansy that he ruined her book by accident, and he says he will work until he can buy her a new one. However, Pansy says that isn't necessary, and that she wants him to come to the library instead of work. Joro still insists that he has to make it up to her by buying her a new one, and so, Pansy leaves feeling sad. At Cheerful Skewers, Joro prepares for his first day of work, and Tsubaki says to herself that her payback is about to start. Thanks for watching the video. Still want to watch more anime recap? Click the video on the screen to watch more. And don't forget to subscribe to catch the latest upload.